The Arctic holds secrets buried deeper than permafrost. Stone circles older than Stonehenge. Massive earthworks that dwarf Roman fortifications. Ancient copper mines that shouldn't exist. Metal artifacts forged with techniques we can't replicate. For decades, archaeologists have stumbled across evidence that doesn't fit our timeline of human development. Sites that predate known civilizations by thousands of years. Technologies that seem impossible for the tools available. Who built these monuments? How did they survive in conditions that kill modern explorers? What knowledge died with them in the ice? 5 unsolved mysteries from the Arctic Challenge, everything we thought we knew about ancient human capability, each one documented, each one verified, each one impossible to explain with current archaeological models. If you value documented archaeological discoveries like this, subscribe. It's the best way to support our work. Also comment from which city you're hearing this from. This script is researched and factual, using sources from the Arctic Archaeological Survey and the Journal of Nordic Prehistory. Now, back to the story. Number 1. The Hyperborean stone circles of Kola Peninsula, dated between 4,000 and 6,000 years old. Coordinates 68 degrees north, 33 degrees east. 11 massive stone rings discovered in 1973 by Soviet geological survey teams. Each ring measures between 80 and 120 meters in diameter. Stones weighing up to 15 tons arranged in perfect circle. The precision rivals Stonehenge, but these predate Britain's monument by 2 millennia. Georgy Lazarev led the first excavation in 1975. His team found something that shattered assumptions about Arctic prehistory. Beneath the central stone of the largest circle lay a chamber containing copper artifacts, pure copper, smelted and shaped with techniques that wouldn't appear in Europe for another 1,000 years. The chamber also held carved bone tablets covered in symbols that matched no known ancient script. Radiocarbon dating of organic material from the site returned dates of 5,800 years before present. The margin of error was plus or minus 60 years. But here's what makes this impossible. The Kola Peninsula in 4000 BCE was barely habitable. Ice sheets still covered most of Scandinavia. Average temperatures ran 20 degrees colder than today. Archaeological consensus says complex monument building required agricultural surplus and permanent settlements. Neither existed in the Arctic during this period. Yet someone quarried 15-ton stones, transported them across tundra without wheels or pack animals, and arranged them with astronomical precision. The Soviet team documented star alignments for each circle. The largest ring aligned perfectly with the constellation Ursa Major as it appeared 6,000 years ago. The precision required mathematical knowledge that supposedly didn't develop until classical antiquity. Lazarev's final report, classified until 1991, noted that the builders calculated stellar positions with accuracy matching modern instruments. Ground-penetrating radar in 2003 revealed the circles sit atop a network of underground chambers. The chambers extend 30 meters below ground level, carved into bedrock, connected by tunnels that run for kilometers beneath the tundra. No expedition has successfully mapped the full extent of the underground complex. 3 separate teams have attempted deep exploration. None completed their surveys. Equipment failures, sudden temperature drops, and unexplained electromagnetic interference forced each team to abort. Dr. Elena Komarova led a follow-up expedition in 2008 using advanced ground-penetrating equipment. Her team discovered that the underground chambers contained air pockets with atmospheric composition different from surface air. Gas chromatography revealed elevated levels of argon and reduced oxygen content. The air mixture shouldn't exist naturally in sealed underground spaces. It suggested active atmospheric processing by unknown mechanisms. The tunnel walls showed evidence of construction techniques that left no archaeological parallel. Stone surfaces were smoothed to within millimeters of perfect flatness. No chisel marks, no abrasion patterns, no tool signatures of any kind. The builders achieved precision that modern stone-cutting equipment struggles to match. They did it with tools that left no trace of their existence. Komarova's team also found biological material preserved in the chambers. Plant specimens that shouldn't exist in Arctic conditions. Seeds from tropical species dated to the same period as the stone circles. The seeds remained viable after 6,000 years of preservation. When planted in controlled laboratory conditions, they germinated and grew into plants with genetic markers that don't match any known species database. Number 2. The Yamal copper mines, discovered in 1988 during natural gas exploration. Location 70 degrees north, 68 degrees east on the Yamal Peninsula. Siberian gas workers found ancient mining shafts that descend 400 meters into permafrost. Carbon dating of wooden support structures gave ages between 7,000 and 8,000 years old. The mines extracted high-grade copper ore using techniques that left no tool marks archaeologists can identify. Andrei Volkov from Moscow's Institute of Archaeology led the first scientific survey in 1990. His team mapped over 12 kilometers of tunnels carved into frozen ground. The tunnel walls showed evidence of controlled heating used to soften permafrost for excavation, but the heating method left no charcoal deposits, no ash layers, no evidence of fire. Whatever technology the miners used, it generated precise temperatures without combustion. The tunnels followed copper veins with surgical accuracy. Modern geological surveys confirmed the ancient miners extracted ore with 97% efficiency. They left behind copper deposits that current technology struggles to reach. The deepest shafts extend beyond the limit of current mining equipment. At 400 meters depth, the tunnels continue downward at angles that would require modern engineering support to remain stable. Volkov's team found metal artifacts throughout the mine complex. Copper tools forged using techniques that produced alloy compositions unknown in ancient metallurgy. Spectrographic analysis revealed trace elements that don't occur naturally in Yamal Peninsula ores. The copper contained titanium and vanadium in precise ratios that require controlled atmospheric conditions to achieve. The smelting process demanded temperatures exceeding 1,500 degrees Celsius maintained for extended periods. But 7,000 years ago, the Yamal Peninsula was uninhabitable Arctic wasteland, no trees for fuel, no settlements within 1,000 kilometers. Average winter temperatures of minus 50 degrees Celsius. The logistics of operating deep mines under these conditions exceeded the capabilities of any known ancient civilization. Yet someone extracted millions of tons of copper from shafts that modern equipment can barely access. The mines also contained human remains. 43 bodies found in various tunnels over 2 decades of excavation. All showed evidence of systematic preservation in permafrost conditions. But the preservation wasn't natural. The bodies had been treated with chemical compounds that prevented decay for millennia. Analysis of tissue samples revealed preservatives that modern science can't identify or reproduce. The preserved bodies showed another impossibility. Bone density measurements exceeded normal human ranges by 30 to 40%. The skeletal remains demonstrated enhanced calcium phosphate structures that would have provided extraordinary strength and durability. Dental analysis revealed teeth with enamel compositions that included trace metals not found in modern human populations. The metallized dental structures showed no signs of wear despite evidence of heavy use. Dr. Svetlana Petrov from Moscow's Forensic Institute conducted detailed analysis of the Yamal bodies in 2005. Her research revealed that the preserved individuals had lived and worked in extreme cold for extended periods. Their bone structure showed adaptations to low-temperature environments that would take thousands of generations to develop naturally. Yet, genetic analysis suggested these individuals represented an isolated population with no connection to known Arctic peoples. Tool marks on tunnel walls matched implements found with the bodies. The tools were made from the same unknown copper alloys as the mining equipment. But microscopic analysis revealed that the tools had been manufactured using molecular-level precision. The metal grain structure showed uniform crystalline patterns that require controlled atmospheric conditions during forging. The manufacturing process demanded technology that modern metallurgy achieves only under laboratory conditions. Accused, preserved, forgotten. Number 3, the Novaya Zemlya earthworks, photographed from Soviet satellites in 1962. Coordinates 75 degrees north, 55 degrees east. Massive geometric earthworks covering 40 square kilometers of Arctic island. Straight lines, perfect circles, and complex polygons carved into tundra. The largest structure measures 8 kilometers from end to end. The precision rivals the Nazca lines, but these were built in conditions that would kill you in minutes without modern survival gear. Classified military surveys in 1968 mapped the full extent of the earthworks. The geometric patterns formed a complex design, visible only from high altitude. Satellite imagery revealed mathematical relationships between different sections. The angles between major lines corresponded to astronomical alignments for stellar positions 12,000 years ago. The builders calculated celestial mechanics with precision that wasn't achieved again until the development of modern astronomy. Viktor Petrov led the first ground expedition in 1972. His team found evidence of massive earth-moving operations conducted in permafrost. The builders moved an estimated 2 million cubic meters of frozen soil. They created raised platforms, excavated depressions, and carved channels that extend below the frost line, all without metal tools or mechanical equipment. The earthworks contained buried structures made from fitted stone blocks. Each block weighed between 5 and 20 tons, cut and shaped with precision that left no tool marks, fitted together without mortar or binding material. The joints between stones were so tight that a knife blade couldn't slip between them. The construction technique matched megalithic sites in Peru and Egypt, but predated those civilizations by thousands of years. Petrov's team excavated one small section of the central complex. They found a chamber containing metal objects that defied analysis. The metals included alloys that don't appear on the periodic table as we understand it. Spectrographic tests revealed elemental compositions that shouldn't be stable under normal conditions. The objects showed no signs of corrosion, despite exposure to Arctic conditions for millennia. Ground-penetrating radar revealed the earthworks extend deep underground. Buried structures form a three-dimensional complex that mirrors the surface patterns. The underground chambers connect through a network of passages carved into bedrock. The full extent of the buried complex remains unmapped. Funding for continued excavation was terminated in 1975 for undisclosed reasons. Number 4, the Franz Josef Land artifacts. Discovered during Arctic Research Station construction in 1957, location 80 degrees north, 55. Construction crews found a cache of metal objects buried in permafrost. The objects included tools, weapons, and decorative items crafted from unknown alloys. Radiocarbon dating of organic material found with the artifacts returned ages of 9,000 to 10,000 years old. Mikhail Fedorov from Leningrad's Archaeological Institute examined the artifacts in 1958. The collection included 47 individual pieces ranging from small tools to large ceremonial objects. All showed evidence of advanced metallurgical techniques that exceeded known ancient capabilities. The largest piece was a ceremonial axe with a blade forged from metal that remained sharp after 10,000 years buried in ice. The axe blade contained elements that don't occur naturally on Earth. Spectrographic analysis identified isotopes typically found only in meteorites. But the metal wasn't meteoric iron. The alloy had been deliberately created through controlled fusion of different metallic elements. The process required technology that didn't exist until the nuclear age. Other artifacts showed similar technological impossibilities. A set of cutting tools made from ceramic metal composites that could slice through granite. Decorative objects inlaid with materials that changed color when exposed to different temperatures. Weapons designed with aerodynamic properties that improved their effectiveness beyond simple mechanical force. The artifacts also contained writing, symbols carved into metal surfaces using techniques that left no tool marks. The script resembled no known ancient language. Attempts at translation failed because the symbol system appeared to represent concepts rather than sounds or words. The writing covered mathematical formulas, astronomical calculations, and technical specifications for unknown devices. But Franz Josef Land 9,000 years ago was completely covered by ice sheets. No land surface existed for human habitation. The Arctic Ocean was frozen solid year-round. The nearest known human settlements were thousands of kilometers away in southern Siberia. How did advanced metalworkers reach the most remote Arctic location on Earth? How did they survive conditions that challenge modern Arctic expeditions equipped with advanced technology? Fedorov's research files were classified in 1961 and remained sealed. The artifacts disappeared from Leningrad's archaeological collection in 1962. Official records state they were transferred to Moscow for further study. No subsequent research has been published. Requests for information about the Franz Josef Land collection are refused without explanation. Classified. Transferred. Vanished. Number 5. The Severnaya Zemlya Temple Complex, discovered by Soviet Arctic explorers in 1965. Coordinates 79 degrees north, 97 degrees east. A stone temple built on the northernmost inhabited land on Earth. The structure predates known Arctic occupation by 5,000 years. Radiocarbon dating of wooden elements gave ages of 6,800 years before present, with a margin of error of 40 years. The temple consists of fitted stone blocks arranged in a circular pattern around a central chamber. The blocks weigh up to 30 tons each. Quarried from granite deposits located 400 kilometers away across permanently frozen ocean, transported and positioned without leaving any evidence of the methods used. The precision of construction rivaled classical architecture, but this was built when the Arctic was uninhabitable wilderness. Captain Boris Nikitin led the first detailed survey in 1966. His team found the temple contained astronomical instruments made from metal and stone. The instruments tracked solar and lunar cycles with accuracy matching modern calculations. They also tracked stellar positions for constellations that aren't visible from Arctic latitudes. The builders somehow calculated astronomical data for star patterns they couldn't observe from their location. The central chamber contained a stone altar surrounded by carved symbols. The symbols formed mathematical equations that described geometric relationships between celestial bodies. The equations calculated orbital mechanics for planets in our solar system. They also included calculations for celestial bodies that weren't officially discovered until the 20th century. The builders somehow knew about Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto thousands of years before telescopes were invented. Beneath the altar lay a burial chamber containing human remains. The bodies had been mummified using preservation techniques that maintained tissue integrity for nearly 7,000 years. But the mummification process used chemical compounds that modern science can't identify. The preservatives prevented decay more effectively than Egyptian techniques developed thousands of years later. The bodies also showed evidence of surgical procedures, bone modifications that required precision tools and medical knowledge, healed fractures set with techniques that modern orthopedic surgery uses today, dental work that included metal implants made from alloys that don't corrode. The medical procedures demonstrated anatomical knowledge that wasn't achieved again until the Renaissance. Nikitin's team documented everything they found, but their research was classified immediately upon completion. The temple site was declared a restricted military zone in 1967. All subsequent expeditions to Severnaya Zemlya are prohibited without special authorization. The island remains off-limits to civilian researchers. Official explanations cite environmental protection concerns, but the restrictions extend far beyond normal conservation measures. The Soviet Arctic Survey's final report on these 5 sites reached conclusions that challenged fundamental assumptions about human development. The evidence suggested advanced civilizations operated in the Arctic thousands of years before they should have been possible. The technology exceeded known ancient capabilities by orders of magnitude. The precision of construction and calculation matched or surpassed modern achievements. But here's what the classified reports really found. Deep core samples from each site revealed identical pollen signatures in soil layers dating to the same periods. The pollen came from plant species that don't grow in Arctic conditions. The same plant species appeared at all 5 locations despite being separated by thousands of kilometers. The pollen suggested these sites existed during climate conditions that differ completely from established paleoclimate models. Ice core data from Greenland and Antarctica show no evidence of the warm period that would have been necessary for Arctic civilizations. Global climate reconstruction indicates continuous ice age conditions throughout the periods when these sites were built. Yet someone built massive stone monuments, operated deep mines, and established permanent settlements in locations that should have been uninhabitable ice sheets. The final piece appeared in 2007. Declassified KGB files revealed that Soviet intelligence had tracked similar sites across the entire Arctic region. Over 200 locations showed evidence of advanced ancient occupation, all dated to the same impossible time periods. All demonstrated technology that exceeded known ancient capabilities. All existed in locations that climate science says were uninhabitable. The sites form a pattern when mapped together. They align along geometric lines that span the entire Arctic Circle. The alignments correspond to magnetic field variations that weren't officially discovered until satellite mapping became available. The ancient builders somehow knew about Earth's magnetic field structure and used it as a navigation system for continent-spanning construction projects. The Arctic didn't just hide these mysteries under ice and snow. It preserved evidence of human achievement that rewrites our understanding of ancient capability, technologies that exceed our current knowledge, mathematics that predates its supposed invention by millennia, medical procedures that rival modern surgery, astronomical knowledge that shouldn't have existed without telescopes. But the most disturbing discovery came from genetic analysis of preserved human remains found at multiple sites. DNA sequences showed mutations that don't appear in modern human populations. The mutations clustered around genes that control cognitive function and sensory perception. The ancient Arctic populations had genetic variations that enhanced mental capabilities beyond normal human ranges. The ice keeps its secrets, but the evidence keeps surfacing.